I just got, Sally's died. No hello, nothing, Sally's died.
We've heard the horrific stories from inside Britain's care system. Sally died from neglect because her carers didn't give her the right medication for 300 days.
It's disgraceful.
And Adam, with Down syndrome, left with untreated chemical burns.
They had no first aid. That's burning through the nerve endings.
Now we've investigated the CQC, the people meant to be watching the care providers, and found many getting away without any punishment, leaving families abandoned. On this, the weekly walk to her sister, Julie longs for a peace where there is only pain at how she ended up here.
I know, Sal.
Among the tributes and the tulips and the trinkets for Sally sits an unanswered question. Why has no one been held responsible?
She was amazing, loving. If she saw you, she would say your name and then she would grab you and she would squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I was getting ready for work, could see missed calls from Sally's place, rang back, and I just got, Sally's died. Sally's died. No hello, nothing, Sally's died.
Sally Lewis had a learning disability and lived in a supported living home run by Dimensions, a care company in Worcester.
Was there any sign that she was ill, any sign that this was going to happen at all?
I had no phone calls say she was poorly, nothing. The coroner's assistant phoned me and said the cause of death is fecal impaction. And I was like, I don't know what that is. What is fecal impaction? He said, Julie, it's constipation. And it was just disbelief. Nobody dies from constipation. It's like she takes medication for constipation. How has she died from constipation?
Sally died because for 300 days, Dimensions failed to give her prescribed laxative medication, as stated clearly in her care plan. And Sally, who was almost entirely non-verbal, was unable to say anything.
Dimensions did everything they could to cover it all up. The day that she died, a form was given to the CQC and they asked on that form, was there any dispute over medication? And they said no.
An inquest found that Sally died from neglect. But Julie wanted justice and contacted the Care Quality Commission, the health regulator with the powers to prosecute Dimensions.
I phoned the CQC because they should be held accountable for killing my sister. She asked me what had happened to my sister. I said she died, and she took a sharp take a breath, and she said, I'll take your details, someone will ring you back. No phone call back, nothing. We just presumed that they were looking into it.
But it took the CQC a further 3 years to bring a criminal case against Dimensions, by which point it was too late. A judge threw it out. The CQC had failed to prosecute within the 3-year legal time limit.
It's disgraceful, disgraceful. They are there to make sure providers offer a safe, effective environment. It says on their website, that's their things. You know, that's their tagline. And they did nothing.
Over the past 18 months, hundreds of families have contacted ITV News alleging negligent care of relatives with a learning disability. They include these 9 men and women who died under the care of providers who are regulated by the CQC. But in none of those cases was a prosecution brought by the CQC. In fact, since 2016, there have been just 11 prosecutions relating to the care of adults with a learning disability.
Do you think that figure is representative of the reality of the quality of care, or do you think it should be higher?
My number one priority as Chief Inspector is to do more inspections, get out and see more services. When we do that and we do more assessments, it's likely that we'll have more enforcement action all the way through from warning notices, potentially prosecutions.
One of the cases we've highlighted is the case of Sally. She died in a care home of constipation. The CQC believed they could prosecute, but were so incompetent that it couldn't even bring a prosecution.
It's important to say, I'm really sorry that we weren't able to take forward that prosecution. And at the time, I know the CQC were keen to do that. We were keen to do that. And as you say, the issue of the statute to limitations or the time taken meant that wasn't able to proceed.
We've had so many families contact us over the last year or so who say that their loved ones are being neglected in care homes. We know that people with learning disabilities are dying 20 years younger than they should. They are dying of completely treatable conditions. They are starving to death. They are being given the wrong medication. They're dying of constipation. They are dying of choking on sandwiches. And in those cases I've just named, no providers were prosecuted.
So I agree, it's really important that we do more of those inspections, and that's why it's my number one priority, so we can help spot where care isn't where it needs to be, identify areas where providers can improve.
Is that when he's here?
Yes.
But can families even trust the CQC to inspect homes?
This is Adam having been out and had a great time.
Adam Crook is 36 and has Down syndrome. He needs daily specialist care and is meant to receive it at a home run by Voyage Care, a private company owned by a country, Kuwait, and its sovereign wealth fund. Not that Adam seems to see much of it.
He has severe learning disabilities, he has autism, and he is a gentle and lovely little man. However, he's really declined due to appalling care. Adam hardly smiles anymore.
The care home where Adam lives in Southampton is rated good by the CQC, but has not been inspected for over 5 years. And in that time, Joanna has made multiple complaints.
Somebody had witnessed a carer who had Adam strapped in a wheelchair, slapping him round his head in the civic centre.
So Adam was assaulted by a carer?
Adam was assaulted. I sent a very emotional email to them saying about all the safeguarding and what they're going to do about it. I didn't get a reply to that. But
no response at all?
Not then. I met with Adam with carers for his learning disability review at the GP, and he was dirty. He had quite a swelling on the side of his face, and he actually had his shoes on the wrong feet. And then I popped in there, and a staff member had brought Adam with these burns on his buttocks. They were chemical burns, second-degree burns. Second-degree burns are so incredibly painful. He probably had those for 24 hours.
And you couldn't tell anyone?
He had no first aid. That's burning through the nerve endings. The staff doing the one-to-one care for 15 hours a day, every toilet, every shower, every washing of hands, every change of clothes. The staff remain mute.
Joanna again contacted the CQC, whose investigation led to no punishment for the care provider, and closed the case.
How is she meant to sleep at night, knowing that the regulator, and you're the only body that's going into these places and looking into the quality of care, hasn't inspected her son's provider now for over 5 years?
5 years is longer than I would want. One of the first things I did as Chief Inspector was change how we prioritise what services we'd look at.
How often would you want to see a care home inspected?
I would like to get us to a position where we're inspecting care homes every 3 years.
We have spoken to countless families who say over the years they have raised complaints with the CQC, and I've either, in some cases, not even heard back, but in many cases has led to absolutely nothing happen.
So it's really important that when we hear about a case or a concern, that we take that really seriously. We monitor how quickly we respond on those cases, and we look at how quickly we do that.
How quickly are you responding?
So we're responding within 95% within a day for what we call a priority one case, where it's of the more serious level. We also work with local authorities and councils who are also assessing care homes. So I'm confident where we get that information, we will look at that information.
I have to say there is a bit of a disconnect here, because either the families we've spoken to are all wrong, that somehow all of them across the country who've never met have just been telling us things that aren't true for the past year and a half, or what you're saying is not true. There is a disconnect here between what you're telling me and what families tell me.
So I know, and I've been clear that we've got areas to improve, and we need to do that. So is there more work to do? Yes. Have you got my commitment as Chief Inspector that I want to prioritise learning disability and autism? Also, yes.
Really, there's no consequence if you provide poor care.
Dr. George Julian has spent a decade researching the treatment of learning disabled people, including the role of the regulator.
I wish I was shocked, but I'm not shocked at all. I think people with learning disability, they're just treated as second-class citizens, so the care isn't good enough, the regulator isn't good enough. Often, coronial processes aren't good enough, people's deaths don't even get referred to coroners. At every level, I think people are neglected. The providers have got them over a barrel because there's not enough good provision, there's not enough provision, and therefore maybe they don't look too closely.
The CQC deny that is the case, but it is undeniable that a chronic shortage of care placements means Adam, despite everything, is still in the same care home. As for Julie, an apology means nothing without accountability. For a sister who died when she should have lived.